Hey, welcome to Kate Crafts. I'm Kate. To kick things off, I would like to announce the winner of the Fab5 Hop and Giveaway, generously sponsored by Fawn. And the winner is Michelle Novella. You have 1 week to contact me to claim your prize. Thank you everyone who hopped along with us. We hope you found inspiration. And with that being said, let's get on with today's card. A while ago I made this panel and never went anywhere with it. I can leave the items that I used in the description box below for it, as I think it was the Slimline scallop with the hearts, the landscape one, and the lots of heart background stencil, I want to say. Now I believe I used a couple of different oxide inks and heat embossed with some clear wow embossing powder as I went along, and then added in some of the shading around the edges. Now, don't quote me on it. I don't think I even have any footage of this when I did it, but it was a lot of fun, and if you would like to see me recreate that panel, let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I could see if I could muster something up. So here I'm just taking some of Henry's ABCs, and I am spelling out the word some bunny. Now, I only have the one end, so I'm trying to make do with the space that I have, and I kind of wish I had two sets at this point for the double letters, because I always worry that I don't leave enough space or I leave too much space, and what I end up doing here is kind of eyeballing it with the W, then take out the W, and then I think, oh, maybe I'll tape it down, and then I think, no. I'll just do the N and the Y first, and then I can go back and add in the second N and line everybody up off to the left there. So here I'm fussing with the tape. I'll move everything aside, and then I'll run that through the die press. Once that's done, I will pop out the letters, and then I'll line everything back up again with my makeshift magnetic board here with reusable tape. I mean, I could have used my Make Art Station, but I was kind of in a mood and I wanted to get a card done, and this is kind of what I came up with. So I'm going to move all the little punch out letters that I did off to the side, and then I'll come in with the rest of the dies here. So all I'm doing is spelling some and bunny. Now, you really want to be careful when you pop out all these letters as to not lose the insides of like the O or the E or the B. Now, I wasn't being particularly careful when I was doing this, and you'll see here in a minute. I have no idea for the life of me what ends up going on with that E that I've got there. So here I'm just going to pop out everything, and then we're going to move on to making the base of the card. So all I've got here is some Recollections 110-pound cardstock, and it's in some form of pink. Now, I know the 110-pound cardstock, I don't think actually has names for the Recollection brand, which, I mean, if I could tell you, I would, but I don't think that they have any names, or at least that I paid attention to anyway. So all I'm doing here is scoring at 3.5, and the card is 8.5 in length, I believe it is, so that's all I'm doing with that. That's going to be a slimline, which I'm not used to working in, so this was kind of interesting. And all I did there with my guillotine trimmer was to trim down the edges to make them neat and even. And now I'm going to take a piece of removable tape, and I'm going to line everything up. So all I'm using is that tape for is, all I'm using the tape for is to hold the card shut. And here I'm just kind of eyeballing where the letters need to be on the actual paper and drawing a line, because I had it in my head that I was going to make the well for this shaker card off of the card base instead of the card panel, because I always struggle with doing everything on the card panel, and then when it comes time to like flip things over, it's kind of, I always get lost at that point, and I'm always worried about putting everything down on the card base first, like all the shaker bits, and then trying to line everything up because I'm always worried about getting something stuck underneath all the foam tape. So I thought I would try it this way, and I mean, I probably could have just done it on the card panel, made my little well, added my little shaker bits, and then put like another layer of something over top, and then gluing everything down. But sometimes I don't necessarily think things all the way through, and then just kind of go with what seems right at the time, I guess. Not necessarily the best of ideas, but, you know, sometimes you just don't have to think about things. You just gotta do them. And this is the whole process of learning, I suppose. I don't know, how do you prefer to do shakers? Do you prefer to do them off the panel, like this, or I should say not the panel, but the card base, I should say, or do you prefer to do it off of your already finished panel? So, I don't know, we're going to try this way this time around, but in order to make the shaker, I need a piece of acetate, so I'm cutting that down just to 2 3/4, and then long enough to cover the length of it. So once I've got all that done, I'm going to take some of my score tape here, and this is like 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to go around all the letters and make sure I burnish that down with my fingernail, so that way they're easier to peel up. And once I've gone around completely, so that way I'll get a nice little seal with the acetate, I'm going to go in the middle as well, just to make sure that I don't have any pieces lifting up. And for like the little bits of like the E and whatnot that I couldn't exactly fit the tape into, I'm going to use some of Lawn Fawn's liquid adhesive. Now, the one thing that I have learned about adhesive is, like, I use a lot of Tombow mono glue, and I do use a lot of the Lawn Fawn white glue. I find that the white glue dries faster in a way, whereas the Tombow mono glue stays a little bit wetter longer, if that makes sense. So I find that if I'm not quick with the Lawn Fawn glue, then it's almost like it starts to dry too quickly, and then I don't feel like I get a goopy enough seal. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm a little crazy, who knows? So all I've done here is I've taken a little bit of that 1/8 of an inch score tape and put it on the back of the inside of the O, and then I'll pop the actual letter out. So here I'll put the E in, and then I'll put the B in, but then I realize I can't find the E. And it's kind of like, where did it go? And I end up looking all over for it. And then I give up, because I don't want to spend all night looking for that one little bit that goes inside the E. So this is where I decide, okay, forget it. I'm just going to put the B in, and I'll figure it out as I go, right? I tell ya, I probably spent a good 15 minutes just moving stuff around on my desk, getting frustrated before I put that B in. So all I'm doing again here is I'm using the B to kind of eyeball where it is that I need to be on the acetate, so I could put these stupid little bits back in, which, I mean, yeah, in the end it looks really good, but as I'm trying to fiddle with them, oh my god, I was so frustrated. It's like my fingertips were just too darn fat to do anything at this point. So I noticed that I cut a little bit too much off of the end of that B when I cut the, what do you call it, the 1/8 of an inch score tape down. So that's something to keep in mind if you're using tape. You have a little bit of patience, because that tends to go a long way when you're frustrated. So now that I've gotten all that done, I need to do the inside of the shaker. So I'm using these new little triangles that I got from Paper Crafters not too long ago. And I kind of like them because they've got the little corner, and I can easily scoop stuff back into the bag or the container that I have. So these are kind of fun because I don't get shaker bits and stuff all over my desk now, and, well, I still do, but not as intense as I used to. So here I'm very carefully peeling off the release tape to the foam tape, and trying not to get my little clay shaker bits all in the way of the seal that I'm going to make here. So these are just high supply. shaker bits. I forget what the name of them are. I'll try to remember in the description box below, but once I've got that all sealed up, that E is going to bother me. So what we're going to do is we are going to color the little rabbit from last year's Valentine's freebie. I think it was. I don't know. I'll have to remember to look that one up too. I'm kind of winging it tonight. I'm trying to say I'll remember a lot, but I don't know. I can't remember a lot tonight. I did remember the winner though, so I'm quite pleased about that. So all I'm doing here is going in with a bunch of different shades of pink to give the little bunny rabbit here some lovey-dovey vibes, because it's, you know, it's the month of love and Valentine's and all that's fun and cute and pink and red and whatnot. So I'll leave all the markers in the description box below as well. And once I'm done with that, I made a huge mistake. So after I was done coloring, I did not zoom my camera back out because I was in the heat of the moment, and I thought, well, I'll add in some jelly roll too, and you guys can see how that goes, but I didn't film taping in the bunny itself, so that's all I did. That's why you skipped ahead to see the glitter on it. So I've got here some more high supply hearts. I've got the red heart drops in the 6mm, and I forget what the other sizes were, but I've got another mixed container there, and I end up going with all the red. So all I've got are 2 different sizes of the red hearts. One's the 6mm one, and I'm not sure how big the other one is, maybe 3. But I'm just going around adding in some hearts, and I find that I'm not too keen on how I colored in the heart on the rabbit, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those extra hearts that I have there after I'm done fiddling with it, and I'm going to glue that down there. So once I've put the glue away, I'll use my pickup stick, and my card is complete. Look at how adorable that is. So you have on the outside it says some bunny with a cute little bunny, and on the inside it says loves you. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.